49ers update, a look at who is winning each and every single one of their position battles right now at training camp here from iconic Dolores Park in San Francisco. You know, it's hot down in Santa Clara. Well, in San Francisco, the summers are cooler. Doesn't stop people from going out, having a good time. Doesn't stop us from talking about the 49ers. We're going to go through this battle by battle for San Francisco. We will start in the trenches. Left guard, there's an opening there. Ben Bartch has returned to practice following the quad injury away from the team facility. I found it notable that he immediately slotted into that left guard first team role. However, at practice the other day, the 49ers made it clear that they're still giving Nick Zakelj a chance at that left guard position. He entered about halfway through team drills. So I'm assuming that we're going to see an alternation between Ben Bartch and Nick Zakelj. Those are your two front runners for the left guard job. I know a lot of people are asking about Connor Colby and Drew Moss, the 49ers' two rookie guards. We never expected them to start at the very beginning here. Those guys get opportunities. That won't be until later in the season after they have some more seasoning time. While we're on the note of offensive line competitions, why don't we move the next battle to defensive line, specifically defensive tackle, where CJ West has made a hell of a splash for himself so far, and it turns out that he's building quite a relationship with a man at a different but related position.
Every time Bosa goes, I watch every single rep. I watch every step he takes, how liberated he is with his hands, how liberated he is with his first steps. I watch it all because he's a great player. And, you know, one day I want to be a great player and, you know, really making a name for myself in the league. So, you know, I'll take every little thing. Even though we play different positions, some of the stuff does translate. How quick you may shoot your hands, or, you know, how violent that first step has to be. You gaining ground on your second step as well, you know. So talking to him, he's been helping me with that and just really focusing on me getting off the ball every single rep.
You go to him, or does he come to you, or is it both?
Honestly, it's both. You know, it was one practice where he was watching me get off, and he's like, hey, just keep doing that every single rep and translate that to the team as well. Because, you know, team, a lot of other things are thrown in. You got the play, you got, you know, what formation offense does. But if you just focus on getting off the ball, you'll be okay.
Now, there are many names in the mix at defensive tackle. CJ West and Alfred Collins, his fellow rookie, the second rounder, are only two of them. The 49ers, if you take a look at this depth chart, also have Jordan Elliott, veteran run stopper, who's been getting first team reps. Kevin Givens, who's been with this team since 2019. He's dependable, high floor. He's been working in with the first team. They've got Evan Anderson, the former undrafted free agent last year, nose tackle, who actually showed some pass rushing juice. Kalia Davis, the former stack linebacker in college, who is an intriguing prospect, but finally has to show out this season. The time is running short for somebody like Kalia. And they also have Sebastian Valdez, who is an undrafted free agent this year out of the University of Washington. That's, you know, quite the assortment of names and different types of skill sets for the 49ers at defensive tackle. All of these guys competing for reps. Now, it's not just going to be two starters at defensive tackle, and that's the extent of who sees playing time. The 49ers love to run an 8 or 9 man D-line rotation. So that's obviously going to include ends as well, but 4 or 5 tackles are going to see playing time on Sundays for San Francisco. And then you have to sort out the practice squad spots as well, because you want to make sure that you maintain as much depth as possible on this team. But I will say that CJ West looks really good, very violent, has a special gift to push offensive linemen back. I will say that Alfred Collins looks a lot less comfortable, perhaps expectedly, because, you know, CJ's got the lower center of gravity. He's more of a, you know, we talk about the one tech and the nose tackle and the ability to gobble up blocks. Well, CJ West is very clearly built for success in that role. 6'1", 320 pounds. Collins is taller, so he's learning how to play with that good lower pad leverage. He's learning how to get off the ball after not having done defensive line drills over the spring because of OTA. So patience is really needed there. I think that he's started to show some real signs of explosive life coming off the ball at the most recent 49ers practice. He'll be part of the 49ers rotation. Just how involved he is week 1, though, is going to depend on the next month before the start of the regular season. You know what you're going to get with Jordan Elliott. You know what you're going to get with Kevin Givens. I think that you know the floor of what you'll get from Evan Anderson. I think that he's still working his way up as a player. I think that He's worked to get in better shape since last season, and they need pass rushers on the inside. I think Evan Anderson gives them some ceiling there. And, somebody like Kalia Davis, he's talking about pass rushing ceiling. He's got explosiveness. Having played stack linebacker before defensive tackle, that's a rare combination. Kalia Davis can give the 49ers a boost there, but he has to stay healthy, and he has to prove himself over the course of the next month. So that is a very murky battle right now, and that's okay. That's the way it was supposed to be. The 49ers realized that they're retooling the room with a lot of young players. The plan was to bring them in and let them compete for the entirety of training camp into the season. And that process is still very much in its infancy. Moving on to the linebacker position, weak side linebacker. The two main candidates here in people's minds on the outside are Dee Winters and Nick Martin, the rookie. Don't discount somebody like Chaz Surratt. Don't discount somebody like Luke Gifford, who actually started this training camp as the 49ers' top number 3 linebacker, veteran whom they signed this offseason. But I get it. The two popular names at the top of the heap are Winters and Nick Martin. And I will say that although Nick Martin is, I think, impressing the 49ers so far, he's shown that he has a violent streak in his play that they really, really demand out of that linebacker position. This is essentially signed, sealed, and delivered for Dee Winters. That was the plan when the 49ers let Dre Greenlaw go over this offseason. They obviously wanted to get him back at a certain price, but they didn't go all in on their pursuit of Dre Greenlaw. They would have re-signed him much earlier than the Broncos could have signed him if that was the case. So they were thinking, we've got a guy on our roster who we're comfortable with, and that is indeed Dee Winters, who has thudded up some offensive players, some ball carriers so far in practice. I think that he's been really, really impressive for San Francisco. They've been high on him all off season, and so far through 2 weeks of training camp, the 49ers, I think, have been validated in those feelings. On to the secondary, where one of the developments that I've noticed as far as how the 49ers are lining up, first, second team, third team, over the course of these initial practices, is that Upton Stout has been getting more and more first team work at nickelback. It started with him splitting reps with a guy like Trey Brown at that first team nickelback spot, and now Upton Stout is really clearly ahead of Trey Brown in the pecking order. I mean, sensational leaping pass breakup that we saw working against Ricky Pearsall a few days ago. Every single coach that talks about Upton Stout mentions that he plays much larger than his 5'8" size. Completely matches the scouting report that we got when I traveled to Western Kentucky, Stout's alma mater, to interview his coach, Tyson Helton. So the homework that we did on Upton Stout is paying off. I think he's in line to start at nickel. That creates essentially a competition for what amounts to a backup spot, the third cornerback spot on the outside. Because Renardo Green and Diamondo Lenore are going to be the two starting corners. They may both be out of practice as we speak right now, but they'll be back by the regular season. So who's that third corner going to be, the first guy off the bench to fill in at one of those outside spots? Obviously, Trey Brown is in the running. He's started before for Seattle. He's made some plays already, too, at 49ers training camp. He's been beaten as well at 49ers training camp, most recently by Ricky Pearsall. So Trey Brown is in that mix, and so is Dallas Flowers, formerly of the Colts, veteran cornerback who suffered an Achilles injury, so suffered a serious injury a couple years back, and has, I think, been working on his speed and working on his athleticism, trying to get back to where he was. He's made some plays for the 49ers, some really athletic plays covering some ground. That's a veteran option, and I think that the 49ers would really prefer a vet option to come off the bench in case one of their top guys does get hurt, because the drop-off can be pretty severe at the cornerback position. That being said, I've been calling Jacob Robinson's name like once every other practice. He might be leading the 49ers in pass breakups, and it might be coming against second and third team competition, primarily third team, but the undrafted free agent out of BYU, Jacob Robinson, is making quite the move for at least the practice squad. Derek Canteen is another DB name to take into account. Versatile guy that I think can help the 49ers out at a number of spots. Moving on to the safety position. Speaking of a versatile guy, Jason Pinnock has, I think, a stranglehold on a starting job for the 49ers, especially since we don't expect Malik Mustafa to be back from his ACL by week 1. So the free agent addition, Jason Pinnock, in that first team role. Jair Brown is right next to him. Those are your likely week 1 starters. You're wondering how Marquise Siegel is doing. I think he thumps. I've seen him thud up a couple of offensive players. I think he could fly, but I do think that it's going to take a while for San Francisco to be fully comfortable with him. At such an, safety is the communication conduit for the defense, for the secondary. It's such an important spot. It even took Malik Mustafa a few weeks to start last year. So that safety battle is going to evolve throughout the whole year because Mustafa is going to return. Siegel's going to keep on developing. I know that Jair Brown was a Steve Wilkes guy. He's not necessarily a Robert Saleh guy. I know that the other safeties outside of Brown are all faster and more explosive than him. Brown may have better instincts, though. I think Mustafa is a combination of both. Either way, there's probably 4 very capable players for the 49ers at that safety position once everybody's healthy and ready to go. And that depth is good. It's a good problem for the 49ers to have as they try to figure out who the best options are going to be. Back to the offensive line. Swing tackle. We have not yet seen Andre Dillard in an actual practice. He's been working off on the side. I would like to see Andre Dillard and how he fits in before I make a firm judgment about this. As of right now, Spencer Burford is the 49ers' backup left tackle, and Austin Pleasance is their backup right tackle. Does Dillard come in and give the 49ers multi-positional swing versatility to where they only need to use one lineman to back up both left and right tackle? I think that would be the 49ers' preferred route, but if the guy is still hurt in a couple weeks, then you might have to think about other options. And the only ones that we've seen so far are Burford and Pleasance at left and right tackle, respectively. All right, moving on to the receiver room. Yes, this is a battle, but it's also just more of a mess for the 49ers. Ricky Pearsall looked awesome for them. Demarcus Robinson has looked good, but remember that Jawan Jennings hasn't been at practice in a week at this point. It's been 5 straight missed practices for Jawan Jennings. Brandon Ayuk is not going to be back until the regular season. Robinson, then you start projecting to the regular season, might be suspended for the start of the year. So you have to think about what the 49ers will need week 1. And I think experience is going to be huge for San Francisco week 1. This is why it's so important for Ricky Pearsall to be showing what he's showing right now. But Russell Gage, I think, is atop the battle of the other receivers as far as who's going to step up and be able to grab a week 1 role, assuming the 49ers need that contribution. Gage, the former Falcon, he's been a legit number 3, 750 receiving yards in 2 straight seasons before he injured his patellar tendon. So he's 2 years removed from that injury now, and Russell Gage has been catching a lot of passes at 49ers camp. I'm going to get a lot of questions about Isaiah Nair and Tariq Owens, 2 young, physically impressive wide receivers, just because fans are very curious about those 2 guys. Nair had that awesome catch early on, but he hasn't done much since. He's going to have to show more consistency producing. He's going to have his shot over the course of these preseason games, over the course of the joint practices, but consistency is going to be key. I do think that he is ahead of Tariq Owens on a potential pecking order for the 49ers at that receiver position. But I think they're going to go with floor. That's going to be something that appeals to them at the roster cut down, which is why I put Russell Gage currently in the lead at one of those back receiver spots for San Francisco. Running back, just getting going. Jordan James has missed a few practices with a knee issue. I love the hustle that Corey Kiner shows out on that football field. I do think that Patrick Taylor Jr. has improved his receiving over the course of this camp. That was an issue for me. I criticized it just about a week ago, but he's strung together several good practices of pass catching. I can't wait to see the preseason games, because there you're going to see Patrick Taylor Jr. and company have to pass protect, and it's going to mean a little bit more because the quarterbacks can get hit. And I think that's really going to help the 49ers make a full and proper evaluation. And of course, quarterback. There is no battle for number 2. Brock Purdy is the 1, Mac Jones is the 2. Tanner Mordecai is now, I guess, in a battle of sorts for the 3, because there's another quarterback in the room. Carter Bradley, that's Gus Bradley's son. Preseason games are going to be really big for those backup quarterback spots, but the 49ers do not have any controversy at the very top of that room. So those are the battles for the 49ers, going from QB to running back. I guess we got to look at tight end as well. I mean, tight end is interesting because beyond Luke Farrell, Kittle and Farrell at the top, the 49ers may have spots for 2 or maybe just one. It all depends on if they take 3 or 4 tight ends on the 53-man roster. Plus, there's always the practice squad in case they get impressive performances from more than just 4 players. But Jake Tonjes, Mason Pline, who dropped the pass at practice the other day, Ross Dwelly, that's like Old Faithful, right? Ross Dwelly has demonstrated a high floor for the 49ers in the past, and he's back this year. And Braden Willis, who's actually been a good receiver for the 49ers over camp. I think during some of these preseason games, we're going to get to see the 49ers rotation of tight ends, who's playing at each spot, who's getting what kind of snap load, how they're run blocking. That's probably at the top of the list for San Francisco at this tight end 3 position. So let's buckle up. I don't think there's a clear leader in that tight end 3 competition. The big news for the 49ers is, though, that tight end 2 is actually settled for this football team. Anyway, we did that. We went through the line, both lines, linebacker, secondary, corner, and safety. Oh, and the kicking competition seems relatively even so far. That's what Brant Boyer said after practice the other day. That's Greg Joseph and Jake Moody. I think Joseph may have missed 1 fewer field goal than Moody, but the ability to mentally handle pressure is going to be the key determinant in this field goal competition. And I don't think that practice can tell you the full story. I think how these guys actually kick in the preseason games will tell us a lot. All right, hit that sub button. We're going to sign off from Dolores Park. That's the true intel on who is winning all of the 49ers' ongoing roster battles.